I wanted to try a long one there. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good one for Casual Fridays here on the DFS pregame show. This is where we go over yesterday's slate a bit. 3 games. Let's see. How much can we talk about a 3-game slate? Talk a little bit about today's slate, which, as always, it's 9 games. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll look through some stuff. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka blenderhd, blenderhd. You can follow me there on Twitter. And it's Casual Fridays, so casual chat time in the YouTube chat. I got my apple juice going, right? We got some more apple juice yesterday. It's back with the Minute Maid apple juice, not the mango crap. So if you want to keep my apple juice cold, you're gonna hit the thumbs up button, okay? I opened this a while ago, so I mean I've been sitting here for like 40 minutes. Still pretty good, but you want to keep it cold. Hit the thumbs. Hit those thumbs in the chat. I see the chat people. DJ Cicero, Jupocalypse, Daniel Hutchins, Trey McRae, Shane Newman, Jamar Simmons, Hog Lawrence, Gerald Miller, Jason Robinson, and everyone that joins me in the morning of my normal routine. I'm going to Results DB, seeing anything interesting. 3-game slate yesterday. I don't know. I mean, we got some the late news was with Dennis Schroeder. He's German, so it really should Schroeder. So he was going to play for the Lakers, and then we got like kind of mystifying, like maybe Rashawn Holmes is going to play. Like Luke Walton, I don't know what he's thinking, right? Originally he was just ruled out, and then it's like, well, he's going to warm up and maybe he'll play. So that kind of threw a wrench into that for a second, until he was actually ruled out. And then like Lowry was ruled out before, I mean, like 2 hours before lock. So we were able to prepare for that. So you have, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Bembry got the start. He didn't do all that much. He got 13.5 points. But most of the constructions with the value that we had on DraftKings, you could have played double stud lineups. Most likely you played LeBron and Giannis. And if you didn't do both, then you could kind of go down the middle, right? You could play a VanVleet Siakam type lineup with Middleton, Kyrie Irving. Seemed like the Brooklyn guys were less owned, like Harden and Irving. Although they were owned enough. It's a 3-game slate, so you get some ownership. The main thing that happened with the Schroeder news. It should rhyme with news, right? News, Schroeder. Okay. Is that you didn't have to play Corey Joseph anymore. that was the main thing. Because like with Holmes out and Barnes out, like Corey Joseph was gonna start and kind of like he'll be there, right? He'll be out there doing he'll be on the court. He ended up still being 29% owned. But you see here with a lot of the sharper players that I brought up for the 150 max fadeaway last night, like that was the main sacrifice of once Schroeder. Once Schroeder was out, because we had the 2 late games, so you had the early games. So everyone, if you played Bembry for value, like he's stuck in your lineup, right? We have Bembry here, 13.5 points. Like you were lucky, like RBX 88 and Mr. Goodseat's lucky didn't have any of them. But you had him stuck in some lineups because he'd rather go to a Caruso or a KCP. I mean, he didn't get there. I mean, neither of them really got there. Caruso, I guess. I mean, 17 points, right? Or Connaughton. Some people played Connaughton early. Most of the constructions were stars and scrubs. Most of the constructions were LeBron, Giannis, and you figured out from there. And then Whiteside was the chalk, and well, I mean, they blew him out. There were blowouts, and then he didn't. Then Bagley did really well. So you kind of needed Bagley. I mean, what was the winning lineup here? Let's see. Yeah, you needed Bagley. You need Bielitsa. I mean, that was the main swap. That was by far the main swap. Like we could see here with Bielitsa, like across the board. Across the board. This is when you see percentages like this across the board, this is a jam it in at all costs type of thing for late swap. Bielitsa is actually a good point per minute producer when he plays. The problem is, when does he play? So with Barnes out and Holmes out, and when they started Bielitsa and Bagley, you have to figure that's good. That's good for Whiteside, but they played small a lot. So Bielitsa 43 points. You needed Bielitsa and Bagley in that case. But once you saw that starting lineup, where's what? Fox, Joseph, Hield, Bielitsa, Bagley was something like that, right? Or Glenn Robinson started, right? Who knows? I don't remember. But once you saw that, you knew that, okay, Bielitsa is actually going to play. He was actually going to get at least 24 minutes, right? Or something like that. But it was cheap. So yeah, I could see that the winning lineup. He got, I mean, he still had the winning lineup still had Corey Joseph in it. So he had LeBron at 51 points, Pascal Siakam at 48, Jimmy Butler at 50. Right, this was a balanced build, and you could see outside of Kelly O, who obviously did well. Glad I had him on FanDuel. Like the ownership is pretty high, pretty chalky. The next lineup, see Giannis Butler. So Butler's 8,800. So a little bit more balanced, but still Corey Joseph, Duncan Robinson, Bagley, Bielitsa. Next lineup, very similar. Giannis, Siakam, Butler. So balanced, but not the LeBron Giannis lineup. Can we get the first? Where's the first LeBron Giannis lineup? Because that was the chalk construction. So where's the first? I mean, we have to go through here. Easy to see with Giannis because Giannis's name is long. Here we go. Giannis still not LeBron. Giannis, let's go. Giannis, no. Here we go. No, that's LeBron only. I guess it's going to take a while. Yeah, if you didn't make a Giannis LeBron lineup, looks like you couldn't have gotten the top. You couldn't. Oh, here you go. Here we go. The first one by Shaku, whoever that is. Caruso, Hero, LeBron James, Giannis, Powell. Powell had a good game, right? Okay. It's a doable lineup. But it was tough because if you're playing double stud like this, you're going to have to take on some low scoring player that ended up low scoring on the slate, like a Caruso. So gave you less of a ceiling, a little bit less. So 10 points off first. But here's like petty theft over here. LeBron, Siakam, Van Vliet, Powell, like a lot of Toronto. There's like all of Toronto. LeBron, Bagley, Bielitsa, Hero. Okay. Doable. These are doable lineups. But that's why I like looking to results DB. Seeing, where people went. But it was obvious with Bielitsa. Like I wasn't playing large field GPPs yesterday. But I had 60 lineups. Like I would have went into the rebuild tool at Roto Lineup HQ Rebuilder and basically just like wherever Bielitsa could fit, just fit him in. You could fit him in, just fit him in, just whatever it could be. He was what, 3,800? He was under 4,000. And I would say like wherever he could fit him in and whatever Joseph, get him out. Maybe you don't X out Joseph because you still need someone that, in guard spots. But yeah, but that would have been my first instinct for GPPs. I mean, obviously in cash games, I play Bielitsa. right? Cash games were good yesterday. Got back up, all-time high. Oh, Bitcoin's at an all-time high. My cash games are at an all-time high. They're not correlated. I don't have any Bitcoin. But we're getting there on all the sites. We're in the green on all the sites. Still not in the target win rate, but getting there close. FanDuel's doing well. But yeah, yesterday was Yahoo. That was the dud, right? Could have swept, but no. Basically, DraftKings 57% return, FanDuel 67% return, and Yahoo minus 94%. But still, all-time high. We're at an all-time high here. See, it goes up, it goes down. Wait till the end of the season. Let me look through the YouTube chat if you got any questions or any talking points for last night. Any good lineups that you made. Joe Adamo says on a 3-day heater, let's keep it going. Okay, let's keep it going. As long as you're not in my contests. I'll always say I want to win first, right? Me, I come first, and then you. If I don't win, great, then you win. Or if you're in a contest that I'm not even in, great, win that contest all you want. Well, I'm rooting for myself first. You can't blame me. Keith Espinoza asked, how big a mistake was it not playing Whiteside in DK Cash last night? Well, I mean, it turned out fine for you. But he was 1,000,000% owned. Like, who else would you have played? Like, let's take a look at what did Cash yesterday on a 3-game slate. I mean, it's going to be high variance as it is. Let's find something. What, the double up single entry 20 to one of these? Something like this. Let's see. 460. Yeah, it was 85% owned. He scored 60. He didn't get there. Snowflake. But yeah, I mean, I would assume if 85% of the field played him and you didn't, you made a mistake. Even though you probably profited from that mistake. But when you see someone that's 85%, you probably screwed up. You probably. Like if you didn't play like Bryn Forbes, it's like, okay, that's not a mistake, right? Oh, I didn't play DeAndre Bembry. It's like, okay, I guess you could have played someone else. Yeah, but when you don't play the highest owned guy into 85% in cash games, you probably a mistake. You'd have to think, unless everyone else is delusional. It's a 3-game slate, so I mean, like I can understand. Like even if we take a look at, I can't even go back there. Great, I should have opened up a new window. I was going to go back to the other contest. Some people went under on Whiteside, which made sense. He was. I think in GPP he was over-owned. So if you wanted to make non-Whiteside lineups in GPP, that was perfectly fine. Great leverage point. He's going to be the highest owned guy. Okay, I get it. He's a wide range of outcomes. Perfectly fine. He's coming off the bench. His minutes aren't even that secure. And he's going to be the chalkiest guy in the slate. So if you're going to find leverage, find it there. Great. Fade Whiteside and braceletly do whatever you want. But I think in cash games, you just play him. Daily Fantasy Nutjob says, on short slates, do you think it's better to EV to just use the sports book? No, not necessarily. It depends. If you're a losing player, yes, then I would agree with that. If you're a losing DFS player, you'd be much better off just betting on sports. Because what's the worst case scenario? You're getting you're getting fairly efficient lines. Right? So basically you're betting on coin flips and you're paying a VIG for betting on coin flips. Okay, but a lot of times in DFS, if you're bad at it, there are worse odds. So no. So I would say that if you're bad, bet on sports. But if you're good, why not? Play shorts. Who cares? Going through the YouTube chat. Rob Rodriguez says, is it just me or cash more difficult on DK? I think the margins on DK are smaller, but the fields on FanDuel are softer. I think that's a better way of putting it. It's easier to make big mistakes on FanDuel. It's hard to make big mistakes on DraftKings because the pricing is so much tighter. So if you're playing cash games, for instance, on DraftKings last night, you probably had to play someone like DeAndre Bembry or Corey Joseph or Alex Caruso. You had to. Like, it was optimal to do so. On DraftKings, you don't. On FanDuel, you normally don't have to. Obviously, a 3-game slate's a little bit different. But I mean, if we even take a look at, like, I'll bring up, for instance, FanDuel today and Yahoo and whatever. Just based on our 958. Let's see. I'll reload it just to see. Okay, we get 958. So if I just run the optimal based on our 958 projections, we see, look, Chesson Randall is in it, right? A 3K punt, the backup point guard for Orlando. Bembry, right? Osman, Willie Hernan-Gomez. If Adams is, I'm assuming we're projecting Adams out in these projections. I'm assuming, yeah. So in order to build a lineup with like Jokic, Giannis, like this type of lineup, you're going to have to play some questionable guys. I mean, that's just the tightness of DK's pricing. But you go to FanDuel, you do the same thing. Less so. At least Carter Williams starts, right? Cam Reddish, J. Michael Green. You get Giannis and Jokic here. But you're not playing as questionable as like, do I really want to play that guy? I know Middleton's been sucking, but you take a look at this lineup. This lineup feels better because the pricing is softer. Pricing is much tighter on DraftKings. But for that reason, on FanDuel, it's much easier to make a mistake because the pricing is soft. So bad players, if you go off in cash games, off the value, you don't realize that, Cedi Osman at 4,200 is probably, let me take a look here. Right, Osman is 37% smash at that price with Torian Prince out. Like Van Vliet in the shooting guard spot for what, 8K against the Timberwolves? Right, like if you're not on the value on FanDuel, like it's very hard. So you can make big mistakes on FanDuel in cash games. In DraftKings, it's hard to because like everyone's stuck in the spot. Like, I didn't play Chesson Randall. So let's say instead of you playing Chesson Randall, I'm going to X him out. Chasson, is the name Chasson? Chasson Randall? I'm going to X him out, and I'm going to run it again. Now I got Fournier in there. If he's going to even play. Capella, Willie Hernan-Gomez, like the lineup. Okay, this looks a little bit better, but you still got Gallo in there. But like, what's the difference between Gallo and like Garrett Temple or something, right? Garrett Temple is projected for 22. This is 23. Like it's like a point difference. Bembry instead, and you build like there's so many different types of lineups that of efficiently priced cheaper guys. That's like if I don't play Gallo, I play someone else. That's not as much of a mistake. The pricing is much more efficient on DraftKings, which means the types of lineups, as long as you're within, 1 point of the optimal or whatever, like it's hard to make a mistake. Oh, well, I'm off completely, right? You could be a 4v4 and still be competitive in cash games on DraftKings, which makes it harder. FanDuel, like, I don't know. You take a look at some of the lineups and some of these double ups, some of these 50-50s, and you go, how do they come up with that? And you see some of that in DraftKings also. But to me, that's the main difference. It's easier. It sounds weird to say, well, I do better on FanDuel than on DraftKings. Like it's hard on DraftKings. Yeah, because you're making mistakes. Like the very slight things like this could be it's the variance of one slate. I played this guy and you played that guy and whatever. That's why it seems hard. On FanDuel, it doesn't seem as hard because it's like, how do people not play that guy? And then you see that in cash games, he's 78% owned. And you're like, well, 78% owned, that's pretty high. It's like, that means 22% of your 50-50 didn't play him. All right, you go, sometimes you look with 92% owned. And you go, okay, that's pretty much everyone. Yeah, it still means 8% of people didn't play him. They pretty much said, I don't like money. I'm going to burn it. You don't get that often on DraftKings, where you get, guys that they're so like must play territory in cash games that you don't see them in like everyone's line. So to me, that's the difference. Let's see. Stress One asks, how often do you withdraw your money on the sites? Whenever you want. I don't leave a ton of money. I mean, depends on what you consider a ton of money. You could deposit in and out as much as you want. The only reason that you shouldn't leave a ton of money on the sites is not because they're going to go insolvent and you're going to lose it all, right? It's not like poker. It's not like online poker and Black Friday. I have no problem with the DraftKings or FanDuel having the funds. It's more the fact that you don't get any interest from it. So if you have enough for, a week's worth of play, I think that's fine. Then withdraw. And put into something. I mean, that's not DFS related, whatever. Put it in a money market account even. I mean, that barely pays anything, but I mean, it's something. You'd rather get a 0.5% interest than just leave it there. DraftKings and FanDuel are getting that interest because it's like they're just not sitting. They're not sitting in a room with your money. Just like it's on a couch somewhere, right? It's not under the bed at DraftKings headquarters. It's in an account somewhere earning interest. But they're getting the interest. You're not getting the interest. So if they offered you interest on it, then I'd say, okay, leave it in. I've even actually suggested that they should give you the interest, which promotes the fact that you should keep the money on the sites. So maybe that helps you play more contests. Maybe, I don't know, but that's the main reason why I withdraw. I'll put it in money market account, put it in a brokerage account, put it in IRA, whatever. If I'm not maxed out there, someplace where it could earn something. You have the money. Depends on how much money it is. Michael Papadopoulos, in a single entry 50-person GPP, would you enter an optimal lineup like you do for cash games? Would you seek the minimum amount of leverage? How about a 100-person GPP? A single entry 50-person? Yeah, you could. I mean, as part of your allocation. But I mean, truthfully, you should. I mean, truthfully, you should. Let's see. Hold on. I'm just getting a distraction. There's something going on in my house. Truthfully, you should just make a 2v2, just whatever. Just flip something. You don't need that much leverage in a 50-person, 100-person GPP. You don't. Right? So you can take your optimal lineup and go 2v2. Where do I find leverage? The easiest place to find leverage is the highest owned guy. And if you want to just do that, he was like, who is the highest owned guy in the lineup? Take him out, and then whatever fits, that's a good lineup. Or you can do the opposite. Oh, let's see. Max Berman. For a casual DFS player like myself who hand builds a couple of lines, when late scratches happen, I often find myself scrambling and confusing myself even further. Less lineup? Yeah, sure, then build less lineups. Let's see. Going through. Let's get going through the GP, going through questions. Hold on. Let's see, going through the YouTube chat. Going through. Shane Newman, do you play optimal lineup for cash games in different sports during NBA season, or you primarily focus on one sport at a time? No, you can play multiple sports. If you're playing cash games, how much hold on. Okay. Back. In a delivery or something, I have no idea what's going on. But what was the question? Let's see. Yeah, you can play multiple sports. I mean, why not? I play football. I play basketball. I play baseball. Comes back. I play baseball. GPP perspective, maybe it's kind of hard to do that when baseball and basketball are overlapping. Obviously, football's on Sunday. Like on Sunday, like it's football time. Like I rarely play basketball, but if you can play cash games, it's one lineup. You could do that. It's perfectly fine. What's wrong with that? Most of the time, you're leaning on projections anyway. So just build your lineup and enter contest, and you're done. Okay. Going through Brandon Stinson, Blender, you're my can't miss DFS show daily. Oh, thank you. I know you do the Saturday night sometimes, and any chance you do a Sunday show? No, I'm not. What? I'm not a. I need days off myself. What's the? I say the same things all the time. Right? Most of the time, I'm just repeating myself. So now I need to be on Saturday and Sunday too. For what reason? I need a day off, Brandon. Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock Eastern. What's wrong with that? Someone's asking me if I played PGA this weekend. No, I haven't played golf since all the other sports died, right? Since COVID time. But PGA, I think PGA's a sport where you could play. I mean, 2 hours on a Wednesday, you build your lineups and you're done. You could do that, and then you just set it and forget it. And I mean, what? But once there's no late swap in PGA unless you play the showdowns and things like that. I just don't get around. PGA is my worst sport. I mean, because I play the large field GPP, so like I'm going nuts, and then some chalk guy wins, and all my lineups are dead. So I haven't played PGA since I don't know July or whatever. Whenever all the sports, when the golf came back and MMA came back, and that was the only thing that was going on. Korean baseball. Then I played a while. I played PGA before I played NBA. I thought I could handle it, right? Because it's just like once a week. It's fine. Soccer, MLB, PGA. But no, I've not played a PGA contest in a while. Ronald Coley, when you decide to fade a guy with high ownership, are you particularly looking to get someone with a similar projection in the same salary range from you're looking, Ronald, it's about lineups. You're not going to be able to find that. You're a mythical guy. I want to find someone that has the same projection as the guy that everyone's going to play, and somehow they're not playing that guy. Like that doesn't exist. If a guy's going to be 70% owned because he projects X for that salary, there's not going to be some other guy that's the same projection, same salary, and be 2% owned. So somehow everyone has collective delusion and forgot about that guy. No, they're always going to be lower. They're going to be lower projected at the same salary range, but you're building lineups. Always come back. If you're asking a question about a player, you're thinking about DFS wrong. DFS is not about players. We don't play with players. We play with lineups. So I look at this lineup. I'm looking at this lineup in its entirety. So if I go back to DraftKings, right? We knock Justin Randall out of the pool, right? I'm looking at this whole lineup. Is Osman a good play in this lineup? How does he fit in this lineup? So I look here. Willie Hernangomez. I don't have ownership, so it's hard to judge anything at this point. Am I going to be able to find someone for 3,900 that has a median of 26.57? No. Let's go down to the $3,900 players. All right, Willie Hernangomez, 26. Terrence Mann, 2. Garrett Temple, 22. Desmond Bain, 19. Danny Green, 19. You're not going to find anywhere close to 26. Scroll down here. So it's not a matter of, oh, I can play this lineup, just not Willie Hernangomez. I'm playing someone else. No, you're playing a different lineup. If I X out Willie Hernangomez, it's not going to replace him with another $3,900 player with a 5-point less projection. It's going to change the rest of your lineup in its entirety. So if I take out Willie Hernangomez and run this, right? You get Temple now. Temple, Bembry, Van Vliet. So get Randall in this lineup. Let's say we get rid of Bembry. It's not going to replace him with a $3,100. Let's say we get rid of Bembry and Randall. You know what's going to end up happening? We're probably not going to have Giannis and Jokic in this lineup. I'm going to get rid of those two. Right? There you go. No Jokic anymore. Get Giannis, Hart, Bain, small forward eligible. Fournier, if he ends up, who knows if Fournier ever plays again. But you see the lineup changes because there aren't other cheap guys that project well enough that gives you Jokic plus Giannis. And let's say we get rid of Jokic and Giannis. We get rid of both of them. Jokic and Giannis. I'm going to assume we're going to see a little bit more of a balanced build. A little bit more. So you get Tatum. You get no one over 10K. Capella, Van Vliet, Tatum, Siakam. But look, 279. We eliminated the cheap guys and the expensive guys. 279 projection. I could include them all in. 289. So you're giving up 10 points of median by getting rid of all of those guys. If we just get rid of like the cheapy guys like Randall and Bembry, 287. So not much change. Still got Hernangomez in there. Let's say get rid of Hernangomez. Now we're down to 282. Okay, so Hernangomez actually makes more of a difference than Randall and Bembry, who are at this time. 3 hours from now, this guy's out, this guy's in, whatever, and we don't have to play. We don't have to even think. Who cares about Chas and Randall and DeAndre Bembry? Right? Just right now, as of the projections right now. But that's all you're doing is you're taking a look. It's not a matter of how do I find a player that's similarly projected to Willie Hernangomez. There is going to be no one. You're not just making 1v1 substitutions. You're building full lineups. I constantly say this. You don't play players in DFS. You play lineups in DFS. Well, I want to play Jokic, Giannis, and Joel Embiid together. How do I do that? Like, is it possible even? Yeah, you have to play Randall, Svi, Bembry, Osman, and Augustine together. Oh, but I also want to play Curry. Like, now you can't. This is going to break. There's no lineups. Right, 4 10K players. You just can't do it. So it's like, oh, well, I don't want to play Chess and Randall. Well, then you have to make a consolation somewhere. Can't play Jokic and Giannis together. But I want to play Jokic and Giannis together. Well, then, is that the best lineup for the contest that you're playing? Maybe not. Yeah, but I think Jokic is going to have a good game, and I think Giannis is going to have a good game. So, if they don't build you high win equity lineups, then pick one. You can't play both of them. I don't know which one to pick. Whichever one you want. Obviously, Jokic only fills center. Giannis fills power forward and center. So more likely, Giannis is going to be a little bit more owned because he could fit more slots. So take that into account. What do those lineups look like? Not who do I play. What do those lineups look like? What contest are you playing first? Am I playing small field? Am I playing large field? What am I doing? What's the payout structure? How much leverage do I need to win those types of contests? Then let me take a look at lineups. They contain players, but you care about the lineup. Going through the YouTube chat for Casual Friday. Hopefully we don't have to play Chasson Randall. I hope not. Bembry, I mean, if Lowry's out again, at least Bembry may start. Maybe he'll do something this time. Let's see. Let's see. Going through the YouTube chat. Semi-Kosher Productions says, I guess you received my case of apple juice. No, you didn't send me it. Do you know where I live? My wife got apple juice for me. Jacob Calloway asks, is there a metric to look at to determine the fragility of a player, aside from the standard deviation? No, I mean, that's exactly what you'd look at. The fragility in the projection also is minutes, because you're gonna have to allocate minutes, 240 minutes to the entire team. But obviously, there are situations that are fragile. A guy could start. Look at the other day, Mo Wagner starts and he's gone. 3 minutes, he comes out of the game and you never see him again. Is that ever going to happen to Bradley Beal on the Wizards? Probably not. It's less likely to happen to a guy not making a spot start, like even Bielitsa yesterday. Bielitsa could have easily played the first 6 minutes of the game and then never played again. Same for the Whiteside yesterday. Who knows? Maybe he closes, maybe he doesn't close. Maybe they go small, maybe they go big. Especially in these unknown situations where this guy's out, that guy's in. If all the guys are healthy and everything is like, you practically predict that. We've seen their rotations. Okay. The minutes allocation is going to be narrower. But on cases where Lowry's out, then Bembry starts. Okay. It could have been Terrence Davis. I mean, OG was in and Powell was in. I mean, Bembry could have easily just played 12 minutes. He could have also played 30 minutes. How do we know? Who knows? So that's the fragility. That's new player, new role, spot player, doesn't have a track record. It's not like Fran VanVleet's minutes allocation is going to be fragile. As long as the game's close, he's probably going to play with no Lowry. He's probably going to play 36 minutes, right? Something like that. Siakam, he's going to play plenty. There's going to be less fragility on those projections. The spot guys, Chasson Randall, right? We have, based on this, what? We have Chasson Randall at 19 minutes. That could easily be 12, right? That could easily be 12. It could also be 25. Because you have Michael Carter-Williams starting. Who knows? Who knows what happens? So that 19 minutes. Like if it ends up being 12, don't complain. Oh no! Oh my God! Yeah, well, it's the backup point guard. What do you expect? Michael Carter-Williams plays 34 minutes, and Randall plays 14. That's the fragility of it. But it could also be the other way. You play Michael Carter-Williams, and Michael Carter-Williams plays 20, 24, and Randall plays 24. Could be that. When it comes to like Vooch on the Magic, you don't have to worry about Vooch. His minutes are going to be they can play him as much as they possibly can. So that's what the fragility of the minutes, more so than the fragility of the actual, the projection. I mean, you need to put in minutes to get a projection. Like you're not going to see much fragility on Tony Snell, those types of players. On the minutes. Like, oh, okay, he could play 34 minutes and do nothing. PJ Tucker. Oh, PJ Tucker will play 36 minutes and get me 7 fantasy points. The fragility of their projection is more in their usage, not in the minutes. I guess if he's hitting corner threes and they're passing him the ball, then PJ Tucker could put up a 30-point game, get some rebounds. Sure. But if he starts, his minutes are secure, but his usage isn't. Jason D asks, do you see any value in looking at results DB for helping in FanDuel construction, even though it involves DK pricing? No. If you just play FanDuel, the two games are so different. Different pricing, different roster constructions. Someone that's popular on one site is not going to be popular on another site. That could, I mean, you could learn about leverage or whatever. You could see, but I mean, relating it to the specific players, it's not going to matter. You can't play two centers on FanDuel. You have to play two small forwards. To me, they're different games. Looking at what's going on results DB here, like you didn't have to play Whiteside on FanDuel. You could have played Kelly Olynyk. You could have played Giannis and LeBron together or not together. I mean, there's so many different ways to go on FanDuel. That like related, like you didn't have to play Alex Caruso on FanDuel. You didn't have to. Like Caldwell Pope was a much better play on FanDuel than he was on DraftKings. Based on the positional scarcity. The shooting guard was, other than like Van Vliet, unless you paid up for Harden, shooting guard wasn't that great of a position on FanDuel yesterday. But you're not going to be able to relate that by looking at just the stuff on DraftKings. So from a strategic standpoint, yes, if you play on both sites and you could look through results DB for DraftKings, sure, okay. It'll cement the concepts in your head and you could just take those concepts and do the same thing on FanDuel. It's going to be with different players in different directions. The ownership's going to be different. Guys highly owned in one place and not as highly owned in another place, just based on how the line construction works there. Let's see. Put in your last minute questions for Casual Friday. Hit those thumby thumbs. Make sure the apple juice is cold. I don't know if are we going to even. I mean, we talked a little bit about today's slate, right? As of now, when Chas and Randall is potential value, that's how many games are on this slate? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, 9. Okay. That just means there's going to be like 17 things that happened before lock that we couldn't have possibly predicted, right? That's what's going to happen. I mean, look, even on a 3-game slate yesterday, we had Lowry out and then Schroeder, he's out. So anything could happen. Jupocalypse says, I'm almost jealous of the guys just starting out in DFS and stumble onto this. Took me 5 years to get it. LOL. But you get it now, Jupocalypse. You get it. I see answering stuff in the YouTube chat. You're almost like a little moderator in there, answering people's questions, especially the ones that I answer all the time. Peter Ortenberg says, if you're looking for leverage, do you try to keep the switch at the same position? No, you're playing lineups. I keep on saying this. You're playing lineups. If you didn't play Whiteside yesterday, that doesn't mean, I'm going to replace Whiteside with another center. Well, I mean, you can play Bagley at center. There are power forwards that are center eligible on DraftKings. You're playing a different lineup construction. So it's not just a matter of replacing Whiteside and putting someone else there. I'm going to replace Whiteside and put Olynyk. I mean, you can. But you're looking like, how do I make my lineup better and different? High projection, low ownership. If that involves me switching 3 other guys, then that's what it does. Then that's what it is. So it's not a matter. I don't look through here like with Willie Hurt and Gomez. I'm not going, okay, I'm not going to play Willie Hurt and Gomez, and I'm going to look for another center at 3,900. So instead of Willie Hurt and Gomez, I'm going to play Brook Lopez at 4,200. I mean, you can. He's $300 more. I mean, you could, but that's not how you should think about it. You think about what do Willie Hernangomez lineups look like, and how do I get different from Willie Hernangomez lineups? Not that it's a 1v1. So my whole lineup is better. It may involve having Brook Lopez in center. You're right, it could. Right? Or Daniel Tice or something like that. Sure, okay, could. It could. But don't feel so down. Don't get so focused in on, oh, I like my lineup and then I'm going to replace one guy. Well, your lineup isn't done until all the players are in it. Like I said, it's about lineups. I don't think in terms of players. I think in terms of lineups. Build 20 lineups. I'm looking at lineups. This lineup, that lineup, this lineup. Not the players that are in the lineup, just the lineups. This may be a good lineup. That may be a good lineup. What happens if I do this? Give me lineups that don't contain that guy in it. Give me lineups that do contain that guy in it. Let me look at the full lineup. Does the lineup have players that may negatively correlate with one another? A little. Reduce my ceiling. Well, maybe I split them apart. But I'm not picking players. It just so happens that Evan Fournier is in the lineup, and that doesn't mean I like him or don't like him. Pat Connaughton's in this lineup with Giannis. Okay. Oh, that means you think Pat Connaughton's going to do well. No, he just fits in this lineup with this projection and that ownership, which we don't have currently. I mean, I repeat this all the time. I show you exactly what it is. Rob Rodriguez says, when you try building a balanced build to gain leverage from stars and scrubs or vice versa, is there an efficient way to do so with lineup HQ? I just showed you. Are you trying to make balanced builds? Well, then use player groups to group out. I don't want to play Giannis and Jokic together. Right? You don't want to do that. Maybe. Or you take one guy and you run 20 and you pick a couple of lineups, and then you run the other guy. You pick a couple of lineups there. Right? So we don't play Giannis and Jokic in the same lineup. Run 20 lineups. Here we go. 10,800, 10,800. We get probably a ton of Hernangomez, Van Vliet, Giannis. Right? But let's say you want to just eliminate all the 10K guys. I mean, you could just do that. You don't even need groups. Let's go over here and go boop, 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 boop. I'll get rid of them. But there's only 3 of them. Build 20 lineups. Or whatever. Here you go. Here's a balanced lineup. Garland, Fournier, Osman, Grant, Capella, Van Vliet, Middleton, Hernangomez. There you go. You're done. 284.449. You don't have any ownership information here, but there you go. There's the lineup. That's it. You're done. You're done. There's no what else would I be looking at? Garland, Van Vliet, Bemery, Osman, Capella. I mean, here's Curry. Curry's we don't have. Where's Curry? Curry shouldn't be in here. What happened to Curry? Oh, because I only had the centers. Okay, so get rid of Curry. So no 10K players. What does that second lineup look like now? So we get Tatum, we got Harden, Hernangomez together. Garland, Osman, Kemba. Kemba's in this lineup. Draymond. There's one with Temple, Osman. Okay, so these are more balanced. These are more balanced builds. Van Vliet, Siakam, and Bemery, all 3 of them together. I guess I guess you could do it. But there you go. These are what the lineups look like. Pick a lineup. Oh, I like this lineup. There you go. You play it. It's as simple as that. I don't know. I don't know how much simpler can it get. How do you build balanced lineups? Well, you take out the guys that are the high-priced guys and see what the lineups look like that don't have them in it. And we look at these projections. 284, 284, 283, 283. Right? So you're getting 283s, 284s. If we put them back in, in the player pool, include all, and build. It's 289, so you're giving up like 5 points. Which is fine for a GPP. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Have fun. Which out of those lineups should you play? Well, any of them. Whichever ones you feel like. Do you want to play Juan Toscano-Anderson? Do you not want to play him? Well, then don't play this lineup. You have some aversion to playing Bojan Bogdanovic. Well, I mean, this lineup is just as good, pretty much, as right 282.41, 282.26. How much of a difference? 0.15? So play this one. There you go. Done. I can't play Bojan. Okay, then don't play Bojan. Play this lineup then. Play the one with Garrett Temple. Lineups, not players. I can't play Josh Hart. Then don't play him. Then find a lineup that's around 282 that doesn't have Josh Hart in it. Here we go. Here's one that doesn't have Josh Hart in it. You play this lineup instead. You're trying to build as many of those types of lineups as you can. If that's your strategy for the slate. Travis Ratliff asks, how much percentage of ownership is too much off the optimal lineup for the build? It depends on the contest that you're in. There's no such thing as too much or too little. It's all going to be in relation to what the ownership is in lineups that are more likely to be in the contest versus not likely to be in the contest. It's likely not to be 10. I'm going to play 8 1% owned guys. Yeah, that's probably too low. Because most likely, if you're putting 8 1% owned guys together, the projection is going to be God knows how low. It's all in relation to the slate. That's why when you ask, like, how much ownership do you try to stay under? There's no number. You could actually have high ownerships. There are lineups that have extremely, almost as much ownership as my cash lineup that are great for large field GPPs. You go, how is that possible? Well, picture a cash lineup with 7 50% owned guys and 1 0.2% owned guy. And that 1.2% owned guy goes off for 50 points. That lineup wins $100,000. It has a cumulative ownership of 400 something, really high, but it has enough leverage because it has the very low owned 1% owned guy. Do you make many of those lineups? It depends on the slate. So the cumulative ownership in and of itself that's a guideline. Well, that's why I say if you fade the highest owned guy, like you automatically know that you have enough leverage. Right? If you fade Whiteside yesterday, like it's almost impossible not to make a lineup that has 50 points less ownership because you're not playing Whiteside in it. You find lineups that have a decent enough projection, and you're good. It's when you're playing him and some of the chalkier options of like, how do I get different enough? And obviously, if you're playing 6 chalk guys and 2 1% owned guys, you're good. But typically, those 1% owned guys are not projected very well. You're going to need a very outlier performance out of them, but it's still possible. That's why you need to think in terms of lineups. Most of these questions have to deal with players and not with lineups. Jason D says, in your GPP Roto Academy video, you explained getting leverage with Cat because he was matched against Gobert and his ownership would be low. Was that based solely on projection? Yeah. I think that was a video from a long time ago. I mean, his ownership was probably low. I mean, that was the time, I don't know. Do people think Gobert is a good defensive player anymore? Because people have these narratives in their head. Can't play centers against Embiid. Why not? Look at the projection. Everything's in the numbers. But then they'll go lower owned because of it. Can't play this guy against that guy. Okay. Well, thank you for lowering his ownership for no apparent reason. That's really what it comes down to. It's like I'm still just looking at the projections. But people like, oh, you can't play this guy against that team. Or they give up a ton of points to this, and it's the opposite way. Got to play centers against the Nets. And then they get overowned for no apparent reason other than a talking point. That may be correct. It's already weighed in the projections. So you shouldn't be just thinking on that on top of it. Is there a current promo code for the Theory of DFS Masterclass? No. There's a reason why I don't give out promo codes. You should be able to guess what the reason is. It's a 15-hour audio masterclass. It teaches you the entire game theory of daily fantasy sports, no matter what you play. These concepts are all in there. It's a one-stop shop. It's structured education. You don't have to watch this show every day and get pieces here and pieces there. And what does he mean by that? Just get that. It's $125. There's no promo code. Oh, no. I have to give you a $10 promo code. Is it not? Oh, so 115 is worth it. 125 ain't. When people give out promo codes and stuff, like $10 off your first month for RotoGrinders Premium, it devalues the product. So for your first month, you could get $10 off RotoGrinders Premium. But truthfully, I think RotoGrinders Premium is wildly underpriced. Wildly underpriced. If I didn't work here, I would legitimately pay $400 a month for RotoGrinders. Legitimately. No problem. Snap. Just for the projections. Hell, I'd play $400 a month just for the projections. So $40 a month. I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's insane that it's that cheap. It's nuts. So the same way with the course. It's $125. If you think it's worth it, get it. If you don't, then don't get it. If I have to give you $10 off or something for the course, then how good is the course? I don't need to be that desperate. It's $125. Take it or leave it. End of story. There you go. Done. Just bluntly put it forward. That's the price. You can buy it or not. Oh, it's a little too much. Then don't buy it. Same thing for RotoGrinders. Oh, I think $40 a month is too much. And then okay. Then don't have it. You don't get the projections. You don't get everything. Okay, then fine. Go out on your own and do it yourself. That's what I said. $400 a month for a projection model? Are you kidding me? It'll take me 3 years to get to this point. If I started now and I built my own model to get it to be as good as RotoGrinders models are, it'll take me 3 years. So I'll just pay for it. I mean, to me, that's the proper investment choice. Then we get the Cardi stuff, like the bat when we have baseball coming up. Like, dude, I'll never be as good at modeling as Cardi. So I'll just pay him for it. It's easy. It's an investment. Like I said, DFS to me is not fun and games and a hobby. It's a way to make money. So I view everything as an investment. So if I have to pay $40 a month as an expense, then that's the cost of doing business. Send me some apple juice. Maybe you'll get a deal if you send me some apple juice. Or you hit the thummy thumbs. If you hit the thummy thumbs on your way out. Okie doke. So we got a big slate coming up tonight. Who knows who's going to be in? Why we got Kawhi with a Q tag. Oh, Paul George even has a Q tag. Or does he have Q? Is that an O? Who knows? Who knows what happens? That's a late game, right? Of course, it's the 10 o'clock game. Of course. And then with Toronto, the Toronto game's at 9 o'clock. You know what's going to end up happening? They're gonna say that Lowry is like questionable. Like, we're not going to even know that, right? It's gonna be crap. We'll get the at least we get the Orlando news early, right? We'll get Cleveland there. We'll get Boston. Okay, but basically Toronto and the Clippers, right? It's gonna be one of those things. Oh, everyone for the Clippers is out again for no apparent reason. Toronto, it'll be, Van Vliet will be out and Lowry will be in for no apparent reason, right? Some COVID protocol stuff. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen tonight? But we'll talk about it. Well, maybe not talk about this slate, but I'll be back Monday. Monday, you know what happens on Monday. James McCool comes back on the show. Mondays with McCool. But I hope you were able to get something out of today's show. This is what we do. There's not as much structure on these shows as other shows. If you want to go to Grinders Live, Crunch Time tonight is free. Okay? It's free, absolutely free. We're just giving away stuff for free. I don't know why we're doing it. I advise against it. I think everything should be paid for. I don't even know why this show is free. Apparently it is. You get the benefit of it. So, Grinders Live tonight at 5:30, Crunch Time afterwards, for free, right after that. So hit that notification bell to know when this channel goes live, the RotoGrinders YouTube channel goes live. Hit the subscribe button if it's just the first time here. Hit those thumbs on your way out the door. Then I'll see you on Monday on another edition of the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders.com.